Welcome to the One Bloody Take movie podcast, where we go back in time several decades to browse the aisles of your local video store. I'm Paul.
And I'm Russ.
And today we're renting the 1986 movie, The Majorettes. So get your popcorn and snow caps ready while we give you our bloody take. The Majorettes, this is a movie that I had never heard of until you brought it to my attention. In retrospect, I was better off previously. The poster, as I see it now, is fun and enchanting, and it would bring me in. The box cover is more closer to my style versus the poster that you provided with the chick with the bippy top on getting strangled by the baton.
Right, and I think that's more truer to the movie itself too.
At least to the title of the movie. As far as the movie being true to its own title, that's a discussion we're going to need to have. But the cover of that VHS tape, even the back that says "Sis Boom Blood, You're Dead," that's what I would expect from a movie called The Majorettes.
Exactly.
The trailer was good. The trailer was it was technically what it was supposed to be. After having watched the movie for the show and watched it a few times, I don't think in retrospect there was anything they could have done with this trailer, if they were being honest about this movie, that would have drawn me into watching this movie.
They lied in the trailer though, or lied by omission. While they do show us Helga getting killed, they make it sound as if the killer is after the young ones, and then goes like even the old, it presents it to us like she got killed for the same reasons as the Majorettes. And they also, unless I missed it or fell asleep or tuned out, even within the trailer, I don't recall seeing any of the Jeff revenge sequences in the trailer, which I think was smart to leave out if they did.
I'm not sure which one Jeff was.
Jeff was Rambo.
Okay. This movie was like so wildly forgettable. I think the word I wrote down, mundane. This movie was so mundane for being a movie about a serial killer that the mundaneness of it was distracting from how mundane it was. I don't even know how to, some sort of inception that they created where it was just so boring that it bored me out of the boredom.
And I feel like everyone's job was just to show up and remember their lines. Like there was no emotional depth in this, so like every character was the same. In fact, this, as I told you, I made a list of all the characters because unless they're playing dress up G.I. Joe, which was the worst selling Dreadnought toys I've ever seen. They all look and act the same. Like there's nothing distinguishable about any of the girls, any of the guys, other than Tommy, which they did on purpose. Everybody's the same person doing the same thing. It's just boring.
It was like it was sterilized. The entire thing was sterilized. It was a bunch of decent horror ideas and then like homogenized and sterilized. Like I don't know how to describe it, and I'm trying my best, but like it was if we sat down today in 2026 and we punched into Chat GPT, make me a horror movie about a serial killer in a high school without any larger prompting, this is what I would expect. Like no emotion, no feel, no anything, just a whole bunch of coldness and a whole bunch of 28, 29-year-olds trying to pretend like they're high schoolers. Like that was this movie.
The teacher or their instructor looked just as old as they did. So it was hard to differentiate who was supposed to be who. And quickly figured that out when we see the county detective sleeping with one of them. So we would hope that she's no longer in school. Um, and what I like what you said, like there's no depth to this because I feel like every this I will say this was not too far off from being an actually good movie. The elements were there. They just never took their opportunities. So like every time they said, should we maybe provide some motivation for why this is happening? No, no, don't do it.
That would have been
And
amazing.
then and then it was like we had discussions. So Vicky, what are you going to be? 17? No, I'm going to be 18. Do you miss your dead parents? Yes, my parents are dead. So therefore I have money coming to me. Like this was like a sitcom where they have to force like a shoehorn a bad joke in, and the only way the joke makes sense is if somebody says something they would never say to allow the joke to be said. So the only way we're getting exposition is when somebody clearly announces something or asks a stupid fucking question, and then we're told what's happening. And there was a point too where I was like, oh, that's great. They're trusting the audience to figure this out. Oh, when the sheriff kills Helga, I'm like, okay, great. Like this is we know that this kill's different. He doesn't need to put her in water to cleanse her soul, but then he tells us that. So it's like, yes, we figured it out. We figured it out. You're not going to baptize her to cleanse her spirit so she can go to heaven. This is a kill of anger, and yeah, we know. You don't have to announce it.
I was so annoyed by that. Um, I think I think you said something here that clicked for me. The acting is okay. the The script, as far as the dialogue and the interaction, is okay. It is. It's like it almost could have been a really good horror movie that cleared all the hurdles we lay out for all of these B movies that we watch, and then they just forgot like the key things that were
Yes,
necessary. All they forgot was the motivation for our killer. All, like
yes,
they only forgot the
and
reasons that we're watching in the first place. But if you put them aside, this is pretty good B-roll for a horror movie.
they started to do that. They honestly started to provide the killer's motivation. So the killer kills because he deems girls dirty or unclean if they're promiscuous in any way. So that showing a little ankle is worse than killing someone. But let's just pretend it is. And the killer's right in doing what they're doing. The killer's goal is to baptize these people, and they do a good job at the beginning by giving us lots of imagery, like lots of religious imagery. We have a stained glass depiction of John the Baptist baptizing Jesus, so we know baptism is important. They're not announcing it, we can see it, so we understand it. And then they give us this like tormented voice inside the killer's head, which is the preacher talking about baptism, or doing the baptism ritual routine. I don't understand, but whatever it's called. And we're hearing that, so that is something to work with, but we never find out why. We never find out why it's important to him. Did something tragic happen to him before? We never get that information. So it's like they're working the way they should a little bit, but failing to deliver how we got here.
That and we're the viewer, so our position in this movie going into it is okay. We're going to watch a person kill a bunch of other people, and we're going to look at everything everywhere and speculate as to why this is going on. The second death occurs and the sheriff or whomever, whoever's investigating is like, This murder was different because they didn't put them in the water like as if they were going to purify them.
Yes.
How is that after 2 deaths? How is that the conclusion that you're already at? What is going on in your town that the conclusion you came to after 2 deaths is obviously this guy is trying to purify everyone's soul? Like where?
But that is to my point where they announce things.
Right.
So the only purpose that serves is so when Sheriff Braden kills Judy, the 3rd girl, he does baptize her in the shower, but then he pulls her out of the shower and sticks her in the locker. So now the detective is going to be thrown off the trail of investigating Sheriff Braden. But to investigate Sheriff Braden, you either have to show the sheriff, the sergeant, or the detective doing any investigation work on this. We don't see any of it. They only show up when a murder happens, and that's it. As far as police work, that is it. Other than the very end with Jeff in the hospital, so they don't do any investigations. So again, they're only saying that to set something up where we can throw them off the trail. But in order to throw them off the trail, in order for that to be important, we have to be investigating Sheriff Brady.
Right. We have to already be well into this before
Yes.
before you can come to a conclusion like that. And if you're well into this already and aren't already on Sheriff Braden, you're just not good at your job. Like there's
Right.
not a lot of people in this town that can be pulling this off in the first place. So once they're a serial killer, that means they're in proximity all the time. So you're really starting to whittle down who it can possibly be, and then you're just ignoring the obvious to let the movie go on further, which I didn't appreciate at all.
And like we've discussed his motivation to an extent, like why he's doing, but we know what he's doing and what the driving force is, but we don't know why he's being affected by that driving force.
What's driven him to decide he needs to purify the town? Yeah.
So what drove him to snap at that precise moment?
Right. Or
has he killed before?
Or at any moment at all. But yeah,
Yes.
Why are we watching this at this point in time? Why has he decided now is the time to clean up the town vagina? Like, why is this now the spot?
And will it always continue? And why only the Majorettes? Because I would argue that the girls in the gang are a little less, I'm just going to probably phrase this in his terms, clean than the Majorettes.
A little more loosey-goosey.
So if we're going to start purifying the town, why don't we start there?
So, I mean, and again, these are bullet points they could have created. The sheriff could be a little. First of all, presumably, the sheriff has had more interactions with the bad girls than with the Majorettes, so there's a better chance that they might recognize him through voice or through action.
Right.
Second of all, we're always going to assume our serial killers on the whole are going to be on the cowardly side of things, and so he's going to want the weaker targets, which would be these are all things that could have been laid out in the movie, but just simply weren't. Like there was just this meeting where they were like, you know what would make this movie cool? Like almost like Rubber, like just no reason, like the whole entire opening scene of the no reason scene, and then this movie, and you would have been like, okay, well at least you're going to tell me that what I'm watching is pointless and just for sport, and I would have been more into it.
I agree with you fully, 100%. The other issue that we have is we've said it 100 times already. What is this movie called?
The Majorettes.
The Majorettes. Yeah. So the Majorettes should be a major part of the movie. They should be the constant target of the killer. Only 3 Majorettes were killed by the killer. 4 in total, but only 3 by Sheriff Braden. Sheriff Braden only killed 5 people. Jeff Holloway, in his revenge tour, killed 7 to 9, depending upon how we want to look at this. Bart and Junior, both in Mace's gang, killed a total of 3, and Helga killed 1. So we have the gang has killed just as many people as Sheriff Braden cleansed souls.
Right.
3. So again, if this movie is called The Majorettes and we're worried about all the girls being taken one by one, as they said in the trailer, they need to be taken one by one, not a little bit here, a little bit there, and then stop, because that's what we did.
Also, they don't necessarily specify, but you get the small town feeling from this movie.
Oh,
So
100%. Yes.
So in this small town, we got by the end of this movie about 17 to 20 dead people, and there didn't seem to be enough panic town wide for my money, for a town where maybe there's a population of 100 and 20% of them are dead by the end of the movie. Feels like
yes,
feels like you'd have more panic happening amongst the regular standard citizenry.
You
and
should.
That wasn't happening either.
That was not happening. No, there should have been like a town hall meeting. Like after the death of Nicole and Tommy, you can go, okay, something terrible happened.
Right.
But after the death of Nicole and Tommy, the investigative side of this would have went, who's Nicole's boyfriend? Nicole doesn't seem like the type to be going with Tommy. Ask her friends. Hey, has Nicole been dating Tommy? No, this was out of the blue. Okay. Has she been seeing anyone else? Now they may not have known, but Jeff knew. And if Jeff was pressured early, he might have said something instead of waiting half the movie to say, hey, maybe go investigate Mace. So the detective on the very first day of their job would have understood to do this, let alone a seasoned detective and a sheriff. And nobody did this.
No.
So yeah.
It was. I'm searching for the words in this movie. Like, it feels like there should have been a sequel where a whole lot of stuff was just explained.
My theory is, because this was written by John Russo.
Right.
John Russo. So it's a book that inspired the movie.
Right.
And John Russo was in this movie. He was the coroner. So we know that this movie has his approval. John Russo also co-wrote Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead. So he's capable of good work.
Yes.
What I think he had were 3 different books, and he couldn't figure out how to make it long enough properly for each one. He had one about a sheriff wanting to cleanse the souls of the young girls in town, picking out the high school majorettes and killing them off. He had one about a boyfriend who lost his girlfriend and maybe other friends, and then went out and took vengeance on the gang that did it. And then there was one about a live-in maid with a byproduct of Barney Fife and Gomer Pyle having a child, and as a son that all live in the same house, and the maid's looking for the perfect opportunity to kill the girl when she turns 18 to inherit the family fortune. And he couldn't figure out how to make all 3 books. So he said, what if I just jam them all together? Because we do have 3 separate stories in this going on either simultaneously, not simultaneously from the start, because Jeff doesn't kick in till later, but all 3 of these storylines are meaningful for most of the movie at some point in time. So that is how I think we got here.
That's not bad. And that, I know this isn't normally the spot in the show in which we do this, but that might have made for a way better movie. Like, if you turn this into like a trilogy of terror sort of situation.
Yeah.
Where each of these 3 individual stories are happening in this same town, and the timelines are roughly overlapping, and then it becomes a story of, is it one person doing all of this? Is it groups of people doing this? Like, how are these all interrelated things beyond the location? That could have worked out significantly better without a ton of change. As opposed to trying to act as if this is all one linear story amongst a bunch of semi-unrelated groups that are tied together by completely unrelated circumstance. I want to watch that movie and not this movie ever again.
The other theory I have is that Elvira, she's Vicky's grandmother.
Mistress of the Dark?
Yeah, she is the one that requires care from Helga,
Okay.
the live-in nurse that lives with Vicky, and Helga's son, because when you're a nurse, you get to have your son move in too with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and he gets his own dark room and everything.
Yeah. For his photography.
Yeah, yes. I have a feeling because, and really, almost everyone in this movie only has one acting credit, that first and only. But if you're Elvira, and I think you were like, she was born in 1900, if I remember correctly, the actress. So in 1986, if this came out, maybe she was 80, 84, 85, depending on when they shot this. So she's at least 84 years old. You just don't wake up and get the acting bug. You just don't go, you know what? I've always wanted to be in a movie. I just can't remember my lines. I hope I don't have to say anything. I think somebody knew her, and it was her house. And they went, I know who has a bunch of religious shit. That old hag that lives down the road. And the only way they could get to use the interior of her home was if she got a role in the movie. So if my theory about having this separate story already about, the live-in nurse and, wanting to kill inherit the fortune, that whole storyline could have been made up because they wanted to use Elvira's home.
See, I had her as like having just recently been diagnosed with cancer, and this was some sort of Make-A-Wish scenario for her.
Yeah. That works too, And when I saw her, I kept expecting another old lady to come out and yell, "Where's the beef?" She just had that vibe as like one of the bystanders.
You're waiting for Clara Pella to walk through the door.
Yeah. I had a "Where's the Beef" board game. I don't know if you ever saw that. Yes, and I did. Jason found it. I told him how much I loved it as a kid, and he found a copy for me at the flea market one day and was like, "Hey, you want?" I was like, "Yes, I want it."
Of course you do.
So I have it now, but it's just a simple memorization game.
Sure.
The board has on the tables has all the cardboard squares flipped over, and you go around, you roll the dice, and once you're adjacent to the square, you can flip it over. You have to find all 4 beef patties.
Becomes
Once
a concentration.
you flip them. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it was stupid, but I when I was younger, I loved commercials way too much. I even had a Spuds McKenzie shirt in 6th grade, and like I didn't drink beer.
No.
It was just I'm just wearing Bud Light shirts with their dog on it.
No matching
So I
Slums
used
McKenzie
to be
shirt.
Yeah, yeah. To be very easily influenced.
Just got young Russ sitting around with his Spuds McKenzie shirt, playing the Where's the Beef board game, hacking up a lung, just having the time of your life.
Oh, that I guarantee you at some time that would have happened. I think I was in 4th grade when I got the Where's the Beef game, and I'm sure I still played that for years. So and there's a very strong possibility that scenario would have played out.
All right, let's continue to pretend to be interested in this movie. I have a question that is unmovie related but movie related, so maybe we can talk about that for a little bit, so we can have some interesting chatter in this here show. The movie starts out with some very typical 1986-ish, new wavy-ish kind of music, and I have a question about this, and I don't know why this came into my head, and I don't know if there's even any worthwhile conversation beyond this. But in that time frame, like let's say 84 to 87, almost every horror movie was really steeped in this new wave-ish synth-based kind of sound. When I go and I look at the Billboard hot music of the time, there's a couple, 2 or 3. There's a Pet Shop Boys song. There's a Duran Duran song. Like there's a couple songs. Human League is on there for as far as being like that new wave sound. why was horror so steeped in that sound compared to other films of that time? Like, it wasn't extremely popular. It wasn't particularly counterculture. Like, I would understand if it was all like punk music and things like that, because horror movies tend to be sort of counterculture-ish. Why was this aesthetic there across the board?
The only thing I can think of, and I'm just speculating, is that at times, at least to me, there is an eeriness to some of the notes,
Okay.
like how it just reverberates. And I think so. Like if we're talking about the beginning of this movie, like with the opening credits,
Yeah.
uh, that music is present, and I think it's trying to set almost a disturbing mood.
Okay.
So not that it has that effect outside of a horror movie, but maybe when paired with imagery, it has that. Even though the imagery they provided us at the beginning with the skeleton and the wig is ridiculous for the context of this movie. Um, but still, I think there's a feeling that it at least would generate with me when you mix the two.
Just that sort of synth table warble against anything dark kind of gives you a bit of an eerie feel. All right,
Yes,
I can see that. I can
but
see that.
like in Revenge of the Nerds, as long as you're presenting it in a happy, fun way, then it takes on that emotion.
Right.
So maybe synth music just carries an emotional feeling of whatever you're viewing at the time.
It's more malleable than something you might already know on your own,
Yes.
that has a mood to it coming in. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
I can see that. I can certainly see that. And then the other thing about the music, again, not a big deal, but they use, and it took me a while to put together what I was hearing, but there was a video game called Arkanoid, which was like an extended version of Breakout or whatever game you used to play.
Okay.
It was a paddle at the bottom, hit a ball to knock out the bricks. And the sound of the ball hitting the paddle and hitting the bricks is that exact ping ping sound that keeps coming up in this movie when it's getting into the really creepiest sections of the movie. And I cannot explain how deeply that took me out of my interest in this movie, even further than everything else. Because I'm watching, I'm like, okay, I'm sure the voyeur is behind the vent that's in the bathroom for some reason that's not
Right.
even open and is never open until he's looking through it, and no one hears it open and no one hears it close. But then when the really creepy stuff happens, there's just this ping ping ping, and it's that
Yeah.
sound from Arkanoid. And I'm just like, I don't know why they chose to do any of this in this movie. And that's the only thing this movie has consistently done, is left me saying, why did they make that decision?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions I have on decisions they've made, but I fully get that that is one of them.
So let's go ahead and discuss the crux of the movie, if you will, the murders, the kills, the did you feel as though as the murders were happening they almost felt inconsequential? Like, I felt like the people got killed who got killed, but the people attached to those people never seemed totally heartbroken by their deaths. Like, I
No.
imagine, like, I send my son off to school and he gets killed on the way home from robotics club. I'm going to be pretty much inconsolable for at least, 3 or 4 days till I get my Xbox back. And these people were kind of just like, hey, did you hear that Jane's dead? Yeah, Jane is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Next.
Any one of us could be next. Yeah. And the most concerned that I felt someone was the instructor when she's in bed with the detective, where he basically told her, like, you're just as attractive as all of these girls are.
Oh, in the restaurant. Oh, God.
Yeah. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, if she wasn't, do you go, so you know what? You got nothing to worry about, babe. You're ugly as fuck. No one's killing you. Like, it was such a weird thing to say. Like, you're attractive enough to be murdered, is what he told her.
First of all, First of all, I rolled through that scene about 20 times because they're just sitting there at the restaurant. He's smoking while she's eating. And I know at some point in time that was socially okay, but you're never supposed to smoke when another person still has food at the table. Like, that's just brutally shitty behavior. And then, yeah, he's like, well, mostly it's young women, so that kind of rules you out. But you do have a pretty good looking face, so, you know, you could be in line for that too. Like, I don't know how you play the other end. Like you said, like, I don't know how you play the other end of that conversation.
Yes.
Look, a lot of these girls are young, and that's not you. And a couple of them are attractive, and that's certainly not you. So you should feel fine walking the streets at night. You go out and continue to do your jogs alone, and you'll be fine, you dog-faced bitch.
Yeah. Because I mean, by saying it, that means he's judging others, going safe, not safe, not safe, safe. You know
that. I mean, there's so many ways to take that. He's going, oh yeah, she was good looking, so I get it. Yeah, I would kill good looking broads too. So I see what this guy's up to.
Who keeps killing all of our young, sexy people? Like, it's a weird thing to say.
We're gonna need to send all the good looking women home to lock your doors. Rat face women, you continue, do your jobs, whatever you have to do. We don't see any problems for you in the near future. But if you think you're pretty, you should have, well, not you, Martha, but everybody else. You should have.
and even then, like, the other girls, if everyone else in this movie heard the detective say this and you're still alive, you're going, oh no, I'm young, but he hasn't killed me yet. I must be ugly.
Some
like, and then they're trying to like dress up to attract the killer to get validation. Like, it just wasn't needed.
Some 16-year-old girl standing in the middle of the road under a street light. Am I not pretty enough for you? Come kill me next.
Oh.
I am trying so hard to give this movie credit, but
yeah,
I don't know why I've invested my time in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we haven't even gotten to the most egregious thing they've done.
Every single murder scene?
Well, before we get to that, I feel like somebody went, I'm going to practice my special effects and I'm going to get really good at it. And I'm only going to do neck slashes. That's all I'm going to do. Gunshot? Nope. Not doing a gunshot. No. Stabbing? No. We can maybe we can show the action of a stab, but no stab wounds. I'm only working on my talent. Show special effects for when someone slashes a throat. Because that's all we got. And I understand the killer might have a motive, or a way of operating. But what almost all movies do, even when the killer does have a weapon, they escalate how they use that one weapon, or they use it in a variety of ways, or there's different scenarios in which a similar kill is done. We just got the same thing in a different place. Same thing, different place. Same thing, different place.
So I'm okay with that in theory. Like, I'm okay with the kill. So we have a singular motivation. So we have a singular performance style. Like, and I so this killer, right? So this killer goes to church every week for, 100 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're there on Sundays during the mass where there's baptisms. And every baptism pretty much goes the same way with a little bit of variance. So he decides that all of his killings are going to be, this. I'm okay with all of that. What I think should have happened is after they filmed the first one, they looked at the dailies and they went, we're not really doing this one so well. Let's find a new way to kill people, because our throat slash thing, in my mind, it's cool. On this screen, not so much. There is one kill that is particularly egregious with this Judy throat slash. And I couldn't tell you if it was Judy or not. Give me 1 second and I'll just give you
the girl that died the shower.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that one was obviously rubber. Like but the neck just,
None of the special effects were particularly overwhelming. So if you want to get into that hole, it looked like they were cutting a rug. Okay, fine. No, there's one that's far. It's so egregious that they actually bring attention to it in the dialogue and still let it play out the way it did on film.
Uh,
So our first kill, is poor old Tommy, as him and his girlfriend are sitting in their convertible. Someone has snuck on top of this convertible roof, which is just made out of canvas and a metal rib framing, which has no tensile strength whatsoever. And he is slowly but methodically cutting his way through the roof while Tommy and his girlfriend sit quietly and watch it happen.
yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like, because after the knife comes through, Tommy just sits there like, lucky it didn't get me. You know? Thinking it's like a bullet and he's out of bullets and the knife can't do any more harm. Yeah, no, they did. They just sat there.
No matter what the movie I'm watching is, no matter what the horror movie I'm watching is, if we get to the kill in the kill scene and I go, I think it's probably better that that guy died.
Yeah.
I'm not watching a very good movie at that point. It's not going to go well from there out.
But Tommy is an example of a kill that they could have done differently without the throat slash.
Yeah.
Because he's not killing Tommy to save his soul. He's only killing Tommy because he's in the way.
Right.
You know, like he has an opportunity to kill Nicole and he's got to kill Tommy too.
Yeah. Tommy just has to be eliminated.
Yes. And Nicole is basically being a Cindy to Tommy's Carlton here, pretending that she's pregnant and trying to pin the pregnancy on him because she thinks he can take care of a child.
Right.
Or support them.
Right. But we obviously know he can't possibly take care of a child because he can't even get his own ass up and out of a car where something is happening on the roof. At least Nicole was smart enough to do that. Like, she opened the door and she was like, I'm not going to be a party to any of this. I'm leaving. Why Tommy didn't do that, and then also didn't really fight it either. Like, okay,
no.
So you sit in there and you fight back against this person that's trying to come in the roof. All right, it's a stupid idea, but your survival instincts are kicking in and you're doing something. Yeah. He just kind of sat there like it was raining on the roof and the drips were coming in. Like, sometimes you get wet when you're sitting in a convertible. What are you gonna do?
Nicole, is that your knife?
So fortunately, Tommy dies. So yay there.
I did like how they shot this scene, even though it makes no sense for the killer to be backlit by the sun at night. Basically, they did it for effect, so I'm okay. But I thought it was at least an interesting look to it when he jumps up. But this is also where we start to get the weird roars, and it's almost inaudible with the baptism parts in his head, and we get a little bit more each time, so we can kind of figure it out. So all in all, it wasn't a terrible scene to me. It could have been better. But what I loved is when the police show up to this murder scene the next day, Tommy is still in the car with just like a sheet thrown over him. So you have the convertible and then the sheet's like this much higher with some blood on it. Like, that was hilarious. I don't know whether they meant it to be funny or they thought it was realistic, but it was hilarious.
The other thing that was happening here was, again, the sound. Like, the sound of the killer in the woods and then the sound of the killer getting to the car and attacking had this underlying effects to it that for a minute I was like, I don't remember signing up for an alien invasion movie.
Yes.
But I think I might be watching an alien invasion movie. I was not watching an alien invasion movie. But there were like these sounds that were the sounds that you would expect when like outer extraterrestrial creatures were coming and attacking.
It was like a laser. Or like a laser, like a UFO was shooting.
Yeah.
And that part was weird. And again, like I think it was just meant to be chaotic.
Okay.
I guess. But I'm just trying to figure out what they were trying to do with that. but it wasn't needed. That was not needed.
The overall audio mixing in this movie was terrible.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, some scenes look like they were just the dialogue was provided like later when they realized they had shit dialogue they couldn't understand.
they were overdubbing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially the walk home with the two girls.
Oh yeah,
Like they shot it at afar. This movie was allergic to close-ups. It didn't understand that it could cut and just to go from person to person and have a close-up of their face deliver the dialogue. It was like the camera had to be 50 feet back at all times.
I believe you're being too particular. I think if we sat
Yeah.
down and wrote a list of 25 things that were necessary to make a movie, they
Mhm.
were allergic to all 25. You don't have to focus on any one thing.
One thing that did piss me off that happened, and it's not this movie, it's just in general. The sergeant, who's the director, he's talking to the sheriff about the Tommy and Nicole murders, and he goes, "This really strikes home. My daughter used to walk home from school with the Hendricks girl. Jesus Christ! Oh, this kill only happened 10 years ago when your daughter was walking home with the Hendricks girl. Maybe your daughter would have been killed too. Was your daughter in the woods making out with her? No,
No,
she's perfectly safe." I just I hate when and this still happens today when people take a tragedy and go, "Oh my God, I was at a 7-Eleven once." You know,
I
like
I
it has
breathe.
nothing. Yeah, it has nothing to do with you. Something else happened, and you're making it about you. Your daughter is home safe and not murdered. So it does not matter that she used to walk with the Hendricks girl. Now, I knew her personally. I'm deeply affected.
Right.
He's basically saying it could have been my kid. No, no, it couldn't. It could not have been.
This could have
Your
happened to
daughter's
any
too
one of
fucking
us
ugly
at
to be
any.
killed by this.
This could have happened to my daughter. Not with that wart on her face. It couldn't have, Captain. Nope. Sorry. No. So after the killer takes 44 minutes to carve through the convertible roof, get his hands on Tommy, and then carve Tommy up, takes him 3 or 4 more minutes to catch up with Nicole, who's a very slow runner, but I guess because she's pregnant. Um,
Runner for two.
and he catches up to her, and she tries to hide. She tries to hide by a tree, which I don't know how you think that's going to play out, but poorly is the answer here in this movie. So she gets stabbed in the chest, and then we get this throat slash again, and then he takes her to the local pond and sort of dunks her in the pond. And this is the first full blown baptism that we see. And yeah, you're right. If you had been paying careful attention to everything leading up to this, that symbolism makes sense to you. It
Yes.
all aligns. But again, Captain wasn't watching this movie since the beginning of the movie. None of the detectives were
Yeah.
watching this movie since the beginning of the movie. But this is sure as shit the direct jump that they make. Like, oh, this guy must be baptizing these dead people to purify them.
Yeah. They also intersplice an actual baptism that's taking place that the sheriff's at
Yeah.
while this murder is still happening. So it's just making sure we understand that there's a connection. And I don't mind being beaten over the head with that because it does make for an interesting cut. So I'm fine with how they did that, and it helped us understand the words in his head were, being recited at a baptism.
I uploaded another movie earlier, right before I had uploaded this one, and I had made an error. So a different movie came up when you clicked on the title for this movie.
Right.
I thought that I had messed something up with this one when they jump cut to the actual baptism.
Uh,
I was like, crap. I must have put a different movie up accidentally. I got to go back and double check again. So that was another starting from the beginning of this movie that I had to do to make sure that cut was correct. And everything they do in this movie makes me have to rewatch parts of it. And that was the real horror in this horror movie.
yeah.
So Nicole's dead. Tommy's dead. No one cares. And now we go after Barbara. And Barbara gets killed in the pool.
Yes.
Now, I understand it's a low budget movie. I understand, making a throat slit as your main kill poses its own particular set of problems, because not that everybody's seen a throat get slit, but we're all pretty familiar with what it looks like when a knife opens up flesh. So there's at least a certain amount of constraints that you're working under towards realism that have to look somewhat right. It can't be all lumpy before you cut it. It's got to kind of look like it's separated out after you cut it. We're not all necessarily sure of what we would see inside. He never cuts all the way through so that the skull doesn't have to detach from the head. There is no fucking blood in this pool whatsoever. And I can't tell you how goddamn annoying that was. And then it got worse with the next kill because of how much blood they committed to that kill. There was no blood in this pool at all. This was their chance to do a throat slash kill in a monumental style, because you only have to think that he cut the throat and then fill the fucking pool with red, and you'll be like, oh man, he slit her throat and dunked her under the water. That was a crazy bloody kill. No, not a drop of blood. And it was infuriating.
What happened here is Barbara's only in the movie because her parents live in a house with a pool, and her parents told them absolutely no blood in the pool under any circumstances.
You know the rules, Barb.
She said, but Mom, and it still didn't work, so that's why we didn't get any blood in the pool.
We don't care if it's fake blood, Barb. Yeah. No blood in the pool. No Kool-Aid, no blood, no cassava melons, no chocolate syrup, nothing.
Yeah, what if we shoot in black and white? Use chocolate syrup? No.
I don't even want to find out that they put a filter over the lens and made it look like the pool was red. Absolutely not. Not at our house, Barb.
And the lack of blood is especially disturbing because, to what I was saying earlier with, no, I only practice throat slashes for my special effects training. Like, he stabs her multiple times. We never see a puncture wound. We never see the knife go in, and we don't always have to see that to have an impact.
Right.
But what I would expect is if after we see someone pound a knife into someone's chest 2 times in a row, off screen or not, that blood would be underneath this person. And there is none.
Not a
there
drop.
Is no blood.
I don't this just I lost my shit at this point in this movie. I was just like,
yeah.
You couldn't even put a couple of drops of food coloring right around her. Just insinuate that it wasn't a very deep cut, but he just got her in the right spot and it was all over.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways to stab somebody in the throat and have it not bleed out and just have them suffocate from the blood in their lungs. But give me a drop or two of blood on the knife. Give me a drop or two of blood on the concrete. Something. Zero blood. And then I'm like, okay, so the way that they did this movie, there's just not a lot of blood in this movie. Fine. And then we move to Judy's death.
Yeah.
And every drop of blood they had budgeted for is thrown into Judy's death.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they shot Judy's death first and used all the blood.
You told me we had 6 gallons. No, we have 6 pints. Phenob.
There was something with Barbara that I just wanted to mention. Maybe give you a little insight on how I became the person I am today. There's a Rick Springfield poster on the wall.
Sure.
Now, when I say this, it is not a complaint. I had a childhood that I absolutely loved. So there's zero complaints here. But when I was in first grade.
You better watch what you say about Rick.
Yeah, no, it's not about Rick.
Okay.
I remember my mom gave to me this like pulled out, I feel like it was almost like a double, almost like a centerfold photo of Rick Springfield that came from some magazine. And she goes, you should take this into school and give it to your teacher. And even, I was probably 6 years old, maybe 7 at the time. And I knew that was weird then. And I remember being like, I don't want to. no, do it. And like I wasn't good at lying or to at least at that spot in my life. So I felt then obligated that I had to do it. And I remember going into class and just going, here you go. And I remember my teacher, I think she was a little confused, but she pinned it to some board in the classroom. So that happened to me in first grade.
Is there any chance, and I'm just hoping for a yes here, no, I'm going to get a no, but is there any chance that your mom knew this teacher outside
No,
of school?
no.
Damn it.
And I will say that's even unlike her to request.
I
Like,
don't know what the mechanics behind that are no matter what.
yeah,
Hey, you should get your teacher to hang this in the classroom. Fucking why, mom? Like
uh,
I'm not even at the point where I care that it's like Rick Springfield versus, I don't know, being Whitney Houston or whomever. Like
yeah.
it's not a gender thing or anything. It's just, but fucking why, mom? Did you ever get clarity on that? Like
No,
10
no.
years later, did you say, hey, mom,
We've
real
laughed
quick?
about it since. Like I don't think she recalled doing it. If I remember correctly, or if she did, she couldn't remember why it was. But just remember, like, all right, I'll take it to school.
There's got to be. Listen, I don't know your mom
I
very
mean,
well. I've only met her in passing, but there's
mm,
got to be an underlying reason that she forgot and you're not aware of. Like,
right,
and I'm just spitballing, but like, hey, this picture was taken in Willingboro, so bring this into your teacher and be like, that's
right,
pretty cool, famous guy
yeah.
in Willingboro, right? Like there's got to be another piece to this
M-
that neither of you are recalling.
Maybe like in some sort of parent teacher conference, it's like he somehow came up, and then she thought, oh, maybe she'll like that. Or maybe I came home and said, "Hey, this happened in school today," and it was a story about Rick Springfield for some reason. I don't know.
You go into the
Um,
parent. You know who gets good grades in my class? People who send in Rick Springfield pictures. Just
yeah.
something to think about, Miss Springer. Have a good night.
Oh shit! I don't want to destroy my magazine, but I guess I'll pull it out.
Kids got to get to
Yeah,
college somehow.
yeah. Yeah, but it's like that's the only reason I think I even remember who he is. Like, like there's a lot of '80s artists I know, but I don't know by name. But I definitely know the song, or it might take me a moment to clock who it is. But I definitely know who he is, and I can almost envision the picture. I feel like it had like a purple border, and I feel like there was a keyboard at the bottom or something. It was just him. I don't maybe I could just be inventing how it looked in my head
Sure.
to assign an image to the memory,
Well, he
but
wasn't a keyboardist, and as the stories are told, he wasn't very much of a guitarist either, which was part of the problem. Um, but I need to
yeah,
find this picture. I need to understand the context
yeah.
of this
I, I
picture.
have I have looked for it. Every once in a while, I'll do a search. But my memory could have distorted its actual image over time. So who knows even if I'm looking at it, if I'll remember it.
It turns out it wasn't Rick Springfield, but it was Ron Jeremy, which makes this story a lot weirder, but still.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god. All right, good. I'm glad we don't have to talk about this movie then. Um
Yes.
So Barbara gets killed in the pool, in the pool that must have been so full of bleach that blood never even showed up. And that brings us to Judy, who gets her throat slit in the locker room. And there is blood everywhere. There is an inhuman amount of blood all over Judy, to the point where he takes her to the shower, I guess to baptize her, not to rinse her off, but to baptize
Correct.
her.
Yes.
And the blood never really goes anywhere. And then he tucks her in a locker, and there's still blood everywhere in the locker. So I don't know what we're thinking here in the special effects team, but we really need to get our shit together.
And the situation with Judy leading up to her death, um, there was the shower was what 15 feet away from the lockers, if that.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm not one for public showers. This seems to be a trend in this movie where all the coaches or everyone wants the younger kids to go shower.
How else would you watch them through the HVAC system that's in the
Yes.
locker room?
Judy takes her top off, wraps her towel around her waist, and removes her underwear in a completely empty locker room. And I get it if you're not comfortable doing that. There's nothing saying like you must do it this way. But the only time I've wrapped a towel around me and taken my underwear off or any pants that I'm wearing off is when you go to the beach and you need to get back into your car and you're still wet and covered with sand.
Right.
Then, everybody stands around you. You have a towel wrapped around you. Just get changed there.
Yeah.
So I understand that can happen. But when the shower is right there, that's an awful lot of effort to go through, especially then once you get in the shower and your underwear are still on, even though we just saw you take them off.
Right.
And then they're off again.
What's the second pair of underwear? It's support underwear.
This could have been resolved with a close-up. Maybe if we don't shoot the girl from below her waist to show that she's still wearing her underwear, even though we just saw her take them off, what if we just shot her from the shoulders up? Does that solve a problem we're having?
There's an entire other show we could do, as I said, with just corrective measures for the filming process that this movie went through. Yeah. And that's one of them. The angles that were chosen, the approach that was chosen was insane because they went out of their way to almost take these shots and then cover up for what they were doing and then uncover up the cover up. Like it was maybe they thought they were making like a movie that was going to instantly go on to TV as well, so it had to be edited. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking at any singular point in time in this movie, except that now as we go through it, I'm thinking that like a bunch of people were sitting around like, you know who I really fucking hate? John Russo. Let's invite him on the set, have him be a part of the movie, and then trash his shit. The whole thing was shot on April 1st. Oh, I see. Now it's making sense.
And I don't know what locker rooms you've been in your life, but none of them have ever been carpeted. No. And I think we've talked about weird carpeted bathrooms before. Why would you carpet a locker room?
I have been in a carpeted locker room. The not entirely carpeted. And no, I agree with you. It should be tiled.
Yeah.
But like, so you have your rows of lockers and then the benches that are in the middle of each row. And there was carpeting under those benches. Like just enough so that if you were sitting on the bench with your feet down, your feet wouldn't be on the tile. They'd be on the carpet.
Okay.
And that was at the Y in Burlington.
And at least that's a small strip of carpet that you can replace every so often.
You can replace it, or it was the kind of it was like that kind of carpet that like you can come and like wet vac it and not let mold grow into it, and that's what you're mainly concerned about is the mold and the dirt and whatnot.
The mold and
But no, this was like low shag and you could come and clean it. But yeah, I have been in one with just some, but not like fully carpeted. Like and when we were going to buy this house, because of the budget that we were working under, we were going into a lot of older houses, and the houses that stood out to me were 3 or 4 of them that had shag carpet in the bathroom, full on wall to wall shag carpet in the bathroom, and I was like, absolutely not. And I'm not any sort of germaphobe in any way whatsoever, but I look at that and no. Because I don't want that in my bathroom, and I'm not cleaning that up out of someone else's bathroom. No, sir. Yeah. And then one that we went into, they had a stall. They just had a standing stall in the basement near the pool table. And I was kind of into that. Like, I don't have to go upstairs between shots. I think that's helpful. But that bathroom, that basement still concrete floor, no carpet whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah, shag carpet in the bathroom was mind-boggling. Like,
Yeah.
again, I'm not a germaphobe. I don't get creeped out by things, but sitting on that toilet with my feet in the shag carpet would just not work properly for me
No.
at all. I need those
No,
carpets to
just
be able to be put into the washer every week with like a quart of bleach, and then we put them back because it looks nice. There can't be actually installed carpet in the bathroom. No.
it's like when the Simpsons go to Australia. I think is it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it might be a different episode, but it's one episode where they're in the bathroom and they hold up the carpet that's by the toilet and it's just drenched. Just and that's what I think of when I see shag carpet in a bathroom or a locker room is it's just retaining everything. And,
Yeah.
and like I'm not gonna like go out of my way to expose myself to germs, but like you said, like okay, end of the day, whatever. I just rinse it off and I'm good. But no, shag carpet, no, no,
No,
no, no.
not a chance in hell.
Yeah,
Not a chance in hell. And there's a reason we call it the pea catcher, and that's got to be
yeah.
bleached and washed on a
Oh yeah.
regular basis.
Now, you had mentioned rows of lockers.
Yeah.
And this school has a janitor named Harry, and Harry is on the slower side, and Harry would stare at the girls while they dance, watch them do their routines from the bleachers with pair of binoculars. So he's always creeping around the girls. And I don't know if I've told you this before, but in high school, we had a janitor that would sweep extra slow in between the stalls. And kids would call him out and he'd start cursing back at it. It was weird. So not that he looked like Harry in any way, but it just gave me that vibe like, yeah, there's janitors at school and they shouldn't be there. And that's not to discredit anyone who's a janitor. It's just in some circumstances certain jobs do have someone that should not be in it doing the things that they're doing, and I can relate to this one.
It always
So,
makes more sense in a horror movie because you always have to have at least one extra person that's perverted,
yes,
slightly more somehow than the killer themselves. Like,
exactly.
yeah, there's a guy slitting throats and stuff, but this guy
Yeah.
walks creepily past the women, and I don't appreciate that.
The reason I am mentioning him is that with this kill, Barbara, no, this is Judy.
Mhm.
Judy manages to take the killer's mask off, and we only get a shot of the killer from behind. But later, we do find out that Harry has captured the face of the killer, which, like, I figured out pretty much once the sheriff and Roland were talking after the Tommy and Nicole murders, because I'm like, okay, well, it has to be somebody who's somewhat capable. It'd be weird to have Roland do it because Roland's only purpose in this movie is to, I think, provide the writer's viewpoint on religion, where he's just kind of like, I don't think God is just watching us, ready to punish us because we did something wrong. I don't know what's next. I hope it's good though. And so it's kind of getting their viewpoint across, because he doesn't actually do anything in the movie. That's his only purpose is to provide a counterpoint to these strong religious feelings that drive people to kill.
He's the voice of the writing room.
Yes, I think he is.
All right, I'll take it. So we move on, and we get to Tila, who gets shot in the chest during a potential fight with Mace. And this death is weird in the confines of this movie because none of the other deaths are happening in this manner, in this way, with this vibe. Like anything about this is a standout scene from another movie that they tossed into this movie.
Yes. And like that's what I this becomes an entirely different movie now.
Yeah.
Which goes back to my theory the author had 3 books that he couldn't finish, and he tied them all together because this is something completely different. The movie now becomes about exacting revenge on a gang that you believe killed your girlfriend and now your friend.
Which again is fine that you
Yes.
run a parallel movie of your serial killer, scary serial killer, your serial killer, and then a person who is unhappy that their friend was killed by the serial killer,
Right.
but they don't know who exactly the serial killer is. Like that's a fine concept for a movie in
Hmm.
and of itself.
You're right, but I think you have to intertwine them. Jeff needs to go on this revenge tour sooner, and the sheriff has to kill while this is happening too.
Yeah, the kills have to keep happening, and
Yeah.
you have to get Jeff escalated. Like not just the kill itself, which obviously is escalation enough, but you have to get Jeff like cops aren't doing anything. Why is
Right.
no one looking in? Like you have to escalate him to the point where he snaps and has just made his own decision as to who the killer is, so that this can happen in this way, and the killer can keep killing while Jeff is doing what he's doing, and then realizing that the person he killed is not the kill. Like there's a whole
Right.
thing that can happen, but
Yeah.
it's got to pivot on certain things. Jeff doesn't just wake up and become a killer.
Right.
Jeff has to be, and escalated into this by other
And
factors beyond just the death of his girlfriend.
if we're being honest, he was ready to break up with her anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that
Um.
much.
Yeah. They. I did like they made it a point to show him looking at their picture to let like this is why he's doing it. But Tila is the 5th body bag. So we've had 4 kills by the sheriff so far. Tila is the 5th one. And it is not until the final kill of the movie, which is either 15 or 17, depending on how we want to talk about this, until the sheriff kills again. So, and not even for the purpose that he started to kill to begin with. So the movie as we know it is done. Like it is we're no longer killing to cleanse people's souls. People are just going to be killing people for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I, got nothing. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't care that Tila got killed.
No.
I sort of cared who killed Tila, but I could not have been bothered to care that I watched Tila die. And
And
that's where this movie fails almost the entire time, is that because we never totally understand anybody's motivations, we never totally buy into or care about the results.
right, and Tila I think only serves the purpose to make sure we are fully on board with the fact that Vicky is not 18 yet, because a large part of Helga and Harry's existence depend on Vicky being 18. Even though Tila said some really terrible things while watching the girls practice, when the gang confronted Harry, who was watching them before they abduct Jeff and Vicky, Tila goes, "How old are you? Are you 18?" "No, I'm 17." "Oh, guys, I think we should rethink this." Like, like he all of a sudden was developing, a moral compass because he gets killed because he doesn't want to go forth with assaulting Vicky. He doesn't care if Jeff dies. He's like, you can kill him, but he didn't want to assault Vicky only seemingly because she wasn't 18. Right now would be 2 weeks later. I mean, not that he might not, he might not know when her birthday is, but that's why he died, because he spoke up against the gang. Him and Mace got into a fight, and our Confederate soldier who's in this movie for some reason, Bart, shoots him. Like I said, I saw these guys and I was like, these are the worst selling Dreadnought toys of all time. And it gave it a Trauma feel, except even when Trauma is bad, it's still okay.
Be-
Like
because trauma is blatantly obvious
Yeah.
that it's a goof. Troma makes no bones about we're having fun making this movie.
Yes.
This movie was very serious in its execution, and were there jokes in the script and things, sure, but like the tone of the movie was not, look at us having fun making a teenage
Right.
a slasher flick. We're making a horror movie here with a brilliant writer who we despise and are going to destroy his source material and leave him with a legacy he's going to hate.
Yeah.
A 4.6 legacy. So that's the
Yeah.
end of Tila, and then we move on to Harry, and Harry gets murdered, because Harry's watching the gang, and then decides he's going to intervene on the gang, and that's stupid, and so Harry gets dead by a shotgun, and he should have. This is another kill in this movie where I'm just like, yeah, it's probably for the best that this town's collective IQ just went up a couple points now that Harry's dead.
Right. Plus, Mason and his gang sell drugs, and for some reason they sell them to Harry, and Harry doesn't pay them. So they had to go to his place of business at the school
Right.
and tell him, you need to pay us. He gives them some money, but he still owes these guys money. So typically, you don't chase down the drug dealers who you owe money to.
He's already
It's
antagonized
usually
them.
usually you go the opposite direction to avoid them.
Right.
But no, Harry's plan was to walk into the den where the drug dealers are doing their thing and tell them they can't do it, even though he's into them for money and they were ready to assault him for it.
Right. So
Yeah.
Junior shoots Harry, and while Junior is off being distracted by his own behaviors, Jeff goes to take off and get out of there, and tries to get to Vicky and rescue Vicky, and the repayment for that is that Vicky gets shot. Now Vicky's dead. Now Vicky's
Vicky
dead.
is dead.
Fantastic. And again, the collective IQ of this town went up another 2 points.
Yeah, and they believe Jeff is dead here, which they essentially leave him for dead. When Vicky gets shot, she falls on top of Jeff,
Right.
and he just stays underneath of her.
Yeah, the bloodshed was
Yeah.
so great that you couldn't tell whose was whose.
And again, yeah, they still don't know how to do gunshots. We just do some splotches of red on it. These are magical bullets that elude the clothing and go straight into the flesh after they've made their way up and into the shirt, so it doesn't leave any holes. Which is considerate, because now they could wash this and donate her clothes to Goodwill.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So while this scene continues to unfold, Jeff jumps into a car and tries to get away. Winds up at the trailer park, at Mace's trailer park, which also is like a gang headquarters. So he's really putting it all together here. And he's gonna what? He's gonna turn the van into a Molotov cocktail. That's his plan here.
Yeah. He also he went home to get some ammo and guns and everything. So
Right.
he's loaded up and
Yeah.
ready to go. But yes, his plan is to explode the van, which honestly, this might be the smartest thing someone's done in the movie, because we're gonna see a whole lot of stupid real soon. Because you explode the van, you get them to run out of the trailer, and you start to pick them off from there.
Right. But unfortunately, Jeff gets his kill, and then we get another gang member that dies when he put the shirt in the tank,
Yes.
like as if to create a Molotov cocktail,
Right.
but then he shot the tank.
Oh no, two different things. He put the shirt into the van,
Right.
lit that on fire. Then when the explosion happens and blows out the windows in the trailer, yet the windows are then perfectly fine when everyone runs out.
Right.
We have 4 people run out. 2 of them run around the back of the trailer. 2 of them get into the other car that Jeff did not blow up. The one gang member who gets into the passenger seat fires his shotgun into nothing before getting in, as if he's providing cover fire for no one. which was real weird. And then this is where Jeff then shoots the driver. That the driver's Margaret. She crashes the car into a tree. And then once the car is crashed, Jeff shoots that car, hits the gas tank, and then that car explodes, killing the other person inside.
The point is they're dead. The point is
Yes, they
we have left the throat slitting movie and we've gotten into like an Italian mafioso movie of blowing up shit and killing people and blowing up other shit. And
so
we don't know why, but here's where we are.
if you were in this trailer and four people just ran out after there was an explosion, and then you hear a bunch of gunfire, you can assume that someone is waiting to pick you off. So, what would be the last thing you would do in that scenario?
Remain on the cast of this film. Is that
Remain on the cast of the yes, that okay, second to last thing.
Come outside through any obvious portal in the home. I'm not walking
Anything
out the
that's
front door.
front-facing.
I'm not
Yes.
walking out the front window. I'm not doing any of that. I'm finding a way to sneak out and about and using the house's structure as cover in some manner.
Yes. Yes, you're either going to go out the back and hope there's only one, or you're going to use the interior of the trailer and re-break the windows
Start
so
sniping
then
out
you
of them.
could
Yeah.
you could fire outside. So at least you are somewhat covered. Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't the stupid one.
Yeah, I would never. I would be a terrible actor in any of these horror movies, as much as I enjoy some of them, because this is what you would get. Here's the scene. All right, cut. Seriously, guys, this is what we would do, and that would be the entire movie. Like the horror movie would be the director fighting with me on every single thing that we know they're shooting out front. We can see the fire. Why would we walk towards the fire? Are we lightning bugs? What is happening here?
It's what it says to do.
Cut. So that moves us on to Junior, and Junior gets shot by Jeff during this whole series of fiascos that we're watching. As cars are like every car is susceptible to blowing up in this movie. Everybody's running into the woods. Everybody can't escape, and Jeff shoots Junior in the chest several times to make sure the job is done. The fact that Jeff fires multiple shots into Junior after he knows he already connected, literally the smartest 19 seconds of this entire movie.
And there one thing we've talked about how the gang looks. Junior looks like a biker. Tila was in leather. The Bart is a Confederate soldier, and I don't know what Mace was. But for as bland as they made all the other characters, they went out of their way to provide us with a variety of people in this gang. Not just, not all just leather jackets. Everybody looks different. So it was even more perplexing why we got such bland characters when they were giving us such a wild variety of people in this gang.
Yeah, because there was no thoughts in this entire movie beyond the superficial. Right. Not a single thought. I don't know how this guy wrote books. And I'm going to go back and read this book and see
if it's different.
Yeah.
And
it has to be.
To make Mace the gang's leader, he looks like somebody that if they sold you weed would sell you the absolute worst kind of weed and then get mad at you for going, it's all stems.
For questioning it.
Yeah. Like he doesn't look like he's good at what he's doing. And he reminded me of Bob from Seinfeld when Kramer has to guard Elaine's armoire on the street, and Bob comes up and with his partner and is like, "Oh, we're gonna take this armoire," and Kramer's like, "You can't. It's my friend." And then I think Bob's like, "Well, what if I cut you?" or whatever it is. He's going to attack Kramer, and gets very, very rough with him, while his partner seems very mild and I think he speaks up too. But I had to double check to make sure it wasn't, because I felt like I was getting the same type of vibe from those two characters.
So we're at Bart, right?
Um,
We're at Junior. Junior's dead, and
Junior
and
Junior just died.
and now
Yes.
we're moving on to Bart, who also gets shot by Jeff. Jeff is a machine at this point. Jeff is just a murdering machine.
Perhaps it would be more difficult for Jeff to kill them if they took some cover.
If they didn't keep clumping up,
Yeah. No, they're just walking directly at you like it's impossible to be shot.
just a whole bunch of lemmings. They've
Yeah.
just been busy playing the lemmings game. And we'll just keep walking, and everything will be
Mhm.
fine. And everybody's dead. So Bart's dead. Junior's dead. Gang members on bicycles, they're dead. Motorcycles, sorry, they're dead. And then finally, we get to Mace, and Mace is dead. Mace gets shot by Jeff.
Yes.
Jeff has murdered far more people than our serial killer has murdered. And while I don't disagree that most of these people deserve their fate, it's all Jeff. This is a movie.
Yeah.
This is Jeff's revenge tour movie, and that's all this is now.
We see Jeff kill 7 people, and there's 2 gang members that are unaccounted for. There's Angel. She was I think she mentioned like cooking something, or like she was by the stove in the trailer. And then there was, when the gang first ran out, there were 4 people. 2 went behind. 1 came in front again with the bike instead of going around back, and we never saw the other guy. But when I was like looking at who killed who, Wiki Deaths claims that 2 people died in the trailer when it exploded, but we don't see it. So whether we want to credit him with 2 additional deaths or not,
Might as
I
well
don't
put him on the
feel like
list.
I feel like Angel would have died because we never saw her come out, but I don't feel like that other person would have died when they ran out.
Right. So now we get back to Helga, and I don't know about you, but there is a certain window of time in this movie where I thought perhaps Helga was the serial killer. Or
Yes,
at least or at least was being set up to be the serial killer in this movie. Like they gave her like early on like a very Nurse Ratched sort of presentation, and she seemed to have that sort of I'm sick of the youth edge to her, and there was a point in time early on in this movie where I was like, oh, so they're gonna make Helga going around killing these high school kids because she don't like the youth.
Right.
That never panned out because Helga was unable to climb on top of a convertible roof and cut through with her blade.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that eliminated her right from the start.
Yeah.
But yes, when first hearing Helga, and Helga's motivation in this movie was to kill Vicky after she turned 18 because Vicky's parents were wealthy, and there was $500,000 that was going to be placed into a trust and would be Vicky's when she turned 18. If she died before that, I think she only gets like $100,000 or something along those lines. And then all that money would then go to Elvira. And apparently Helga would also get $100,000 if Elvira died while in her care. So I think she would have come out of this with $600,000 if the plan had gone accordingly.
Now, I will state emphatically that I am not a lawyer. I know a little bit about real estate law just from the jobs that I've done in my life, but I know nothing of the law. I can tell you from a real estate perspective, if the will said something along the lines of, and Vicky gets the whole property once she turns 18, and Vicky died 2 days after she turned 18, that property would get stuck in probate for quite a long time before anything got squared up and that money got delivered or that property got delivered to anybody. And Helga seems to think that like once we produce a body, we're just going to cash some checks and get out of here. I don't think that's going to work out the way you had imagined, Helga.
And it doesn't even make sense. Why wouldn't, if Vicky died before she turned 18, why would the grandmother just not get the money? It wasn't like the grandmother had a stroke before the parents died. And they're like, well, she has enough money, but you think she would still get the money that's part of the family.
there's no considerable way where it goes from once she turns 18 she gets
Yeah.
rich to as soon as she turned 18 she was murdered, so someone else should get rich now. I that's just not.
And prior to this, Helga, like we said, Harry took photos of the killer. Helga realizes it's the sheriff, invites the sheriff over, and basically says, "This is the predicament I'm in. I just need you to kill one more girl for me." Which didn't make sense to me because now you've exposed your plan to a killer, especially then later when you find out the killer is killing because of sins. So it's best not to upset him any further than you already have. It's sort of like in the Dark Knight when Lucius Fox is like, and your plan was to blackmail this man, into when he finds out who Bruce Wayne is,
Right.
like he beats criminals to a bloody pulp with his bare, like that's kind of what that felt like to me. If you just give it time, hopefully Vicky will just be killed by the killer after she's 18 and you don't have to announce your plans, because now there's a series of murders in the town. Vicky fits the profile. So even if the money does get held up, the lack of investigations that they're doing will eventually show that the serial killer did this.
Also, quick life lesson for you if you were ever considering such an activity. By their very nature, killers for hire lack morals.
Yeah.
It is in your best interest to give them as little detail as possible into how they could improve their odds or improve their earnings through more immoral behavior, because I'm just going to assume they're able to do it. So explaining to the killer how much better off the killer could be if you weren't involved in the equation anymore is a really fucking stupid idea.
Yeah.
In general, not just in this movie, in the world at large. You don't say, hey, I'd like to give you $30,000 to murder someone and then disappear. And they go, okay. And you go, well, you know why I'm doing it? Hear me out here, because I'll make 600 grand if this works out. That 30 grand suddenly seems like pocket change when they can be chasing 600 by taking you out too.
Yep.
Just, I know we're nitpicky. We're supposed to suspend disbelief. All that. No, not here. Not here. When our concession is that this nurse or whomever knows enough about how the world works to know that you can hire someone, can contract someone to execute someone else for you, they have to also understand well enough to know, well, that's a highly immoral person. So I don't want to give them any more insight into how acting immoral could profit them even more than what I've already offered them.
Yeah.
It's terrifying how dumb people are these days. Anyway.
And today somebody would just be doing it in their Instagram live.
Yeah,
so my plan is...
watch me pay for this murderer with my cryptocurrency so no one can trace it back to me. Here's my wallet. Click.
I want a law passed that if you commit a crime that you're live streaming, you get double the sentence. Because not only are you committing a criminal act that you shouldn't be, I'm not talking about minor offenses, I'm talking about really stupid shit. You are dumb enough to show everyone you doing it.
No, I totally disagree with you on that. They should be executed. I know
okay.
It's going to sound somewhat egalitarian, and we don't want that for our world for some reason. But if you willingly, unpromptedly, and of your own free will show me that you're too stupid to operate within society, we should be allowed to remove you from society. It's in our best interest to get rid of you once you're that fucking dumb. And it's not just that you're dumb. People can be dumb. It happens. But that you're willing to like put it on a marquee, like, look how fucking dumb I am. Like, listen, we appreciate it, but goodbye.
That's in line with my theory that every single person is stupid. I'm stupid. You're stupid.
Sure.
Every single person is stupid. It's just we understand how much stupid we have inside of us and work within our means to conceal as much of it
Right.
as we possibly can.
I understand the thresholds of
Yeah.
my stupidity,
Yeah.
and I also know how to make you believe that I'm not stupid, and that's the
Yes.
key to the whole thing.
Right. When you can be this the dumbest person in the world, but as long as you're trying to cover it up,
You're good by me.
great, you are good. That's the smartest thing you could possibly do. But when you just show everyone, guys, I have absolutely zero thought process.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is right in parallel with parents with crying babies. If I'm at the restaurant and you're with your crying baby and you are shaking every key that you have and going all the hissing noise, everything in your power to shut that baby up, but the baby keeps crying, you're good with me. I'm fine.
Yep.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If you're there and your baby's crying and you're just like, oh, I wish he would be quiet while I'm choosing between the mozzarella sticks and the wings, fuck you. You need to be taken off
Yeah.
the planet. It's the effort that makes the difference, even though the
Yes.
results are exactly the same.
Just like the dog next to us barks all day. It's been better, but that's because the dog has no yard right now. But the dog barks all day long and they do nothing. They do nothing. I was so angry one time. This was like during COVID. I was in the garage with the garage door open. And in my garage, I could hear the neighbor's dog barking, 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 barking with my music on. I went to the edge and I yelled, shut up as loud as I possibly could. And I mentioned it was COVID because my neighbors are having a food delivery. And I scared the ShopRite guy to death. they they were laughing later and they told me like when you yelled that he nearly jumped out of his shoes. So like dogs are gonna bark. My dog barked, all dogs bark. It's you have to show an effort to control your dog
Right.
and get them to stop barking.
Right.
And there's little to none.
Right.
And that's what drives me
that's
crazy.
what makes you an asshole. It's not the
Yes.
dog barking. Like you said,
Yes.
my dog perches herself at the window. And if you come by with wheels, like 20 people could walk up our front lawn and knock on our windows and my dog would not make a peep. But if you roller skated past, she will freak the hell out. But I jump up and I grab her from the window and
Yep.
you're not a watchdog, get down. That's
Yeah.
all I can do. It's the most.
Yep.
I'm not going to beat the dog because they bark.
No. Yeah,
But-
dogs are gonna bark.
Yeah, but make some effort into showing that you
Yep.
respect the rest of humanity and we're good. And don't be
Yeah.
stupid. Don't be
Don't
so
be stupid.
extremely fucking stupid
Mhm.
as to tell the serial killer, the murderer for hire your plan and act as if he's going to be the good-spirited person who puts that in his pocket and keeps it there and never mentions it to anyone or does anything about it. So Helga dies. Helga gets hung by Sheriff Braden so that we can think that Helga killed herself, which is a completely ridiculous fucking posit because Helga's like 900 years old. How did she even hoist herself up in the first place?
Well, the chair.
No one here is intelligent. The chair, what? We saw her through most of the movie just kind of scooch down in a recliner, getting shots in her arm. The chair, what?
Oh no. That's Elvira.
Oh, that's
Elvira
Elvira.
can't
Oh,
move.
right,
Yes,
right,
yeah.
right.
Helga's the nurse.
Right. Sorry.
The sheriff
So
sets
annoyed
it
by
up
this
in a way
movie.
to make it look like she was on the chair and then kicked it out from underneath of her.
Yeah.
And this is where I was like, oh wow, they're actually doing something good. But then not only did we have Helga continue to explain her thought process well after she had killed Elvira, the sheriff then has to explain everything he's doing to us as if it's a new Netflix movie. So it didn't need all of the announcing. This to me was the part that I had the most problem with. I get that the sheriff is trying to blame Harry as the killer. We have all the perverted shots of the girls in various states of undress and candid shots, things such as that. We have a dead mother after discovering that her now dead son was the killer of these girls. She kills herself. Okay, that's all wrapped up. We have a plausible explanation for the police, especially since the killer is the police. That's the story they're going to go with. No one ever survived this killer. No one ever saw this killer and lived to tell about it. We only know what the killer's outfit is because we saw the killer in the outfit. No one else did. So, why does the sheriff take his camo clothes, fold them up nice and neatly, and put them in the dark room of all places, even though no one's ever seen them to go, yep, that's what the killer was wearing? It'd be like, putting a hockey mask in the room going, yep, this guy was Jason. Like, no one saw you. The only person that did was Harry, and Harry photographed you in these clothes. But the problem is if Harry is the killer, who took the photographs? If we're going to use the photographs as evidence as this is what the killer was wearing.
Well,
If
this
we're going down that path, not saying that that was the plan, but I'm just trying to understand why it was important to leave the outfit behind because no one knows what he looks like.
does the sheriff know he was photographed?
Yes, Helga shows him the photographs with the mask off because one of them, Judy, Barbara, whoever, took the mask off in the locker room.
No,
We don't.
I know
Yeah.
how Harry got the picture, but the
Yes.
sheriff knows the picture exists.
Yes, because the Helga called them over to the house to blackmail him, saying like, you scratch my back, I don't rat you out.
So, but how does Helga know it's a picture of him murdering people?
Because Harry was there and saw it. Harry Harry can place the killer at the scene of the crime, and he has photographs of the sheriff with
I
the
know,
dead body or right before the kill.
I know,
Because
I know, I'm jumping through things here. I get that, and so I'm not making myself clear. So Harry's in the vents again, and Harry gets a picture of the sheriff's face uh, before during the murder. However, from what we saw, if he gets a picture of the face, he can't also have a picture of the sheriff murdering because he would have to be from behind taking that picture, which is an impossibility from where Harry was located. But let's put that aside. Let's table that part of this. So Harry has this picture of the face of the sheriff killing, but that's just him saying that at that point. That's just a picture he has of the sheriff in camo with no
yes,
context. So why am I believing Harry over anyone else?
well, because Harry would have a series of the photos. So Harry would have photos of the sheriff with the mask on, probably holding her up, probably killing her, and then with the mask off, so we can see it's the same person, unless there were two different people in a camo suit, and one just happened to walk in after the murder was done. The other thing would be this movie's allergic to close-ups, so it wouldn't be just his face; it would be the entire scene in the photo,
So
because
that
that's what we saw.
so then we're at a point somewhere in this movie where Harry and Helga both know that the sheriff is the killer, but
Yes,
no one else knows, and neither of them tell anyone else.
correct, because it'll benefit them.
Okay.
They'll stand to make $600,000 with the death of Vicky and the death of Elvira if things go according to plan.
Movie just got even worse somehow. All
Yeah,
right. So Helga's dead, and now we're gonna wrap up here with another gang member and then Angel.
right. And that's kind of what we talked about. That happened beforehand,
Right.
but I just didn't know.
We have to
Yeah,
mention it
yeah,
because what happened to Angel otherwise.
right. The girl who was in the movie for 30 seconds.
So that's our movie, and it was just boring. It was dull. It had no real exposition. It had no real baseline for the plot happening the way it was happening. The only murders that made any kind of sense to me were Jeff's murders because we understand why he's out on a rampage.
Yes,
Now, I'm not saying that they're right or wrong or anything like that, but at least I understand what Jeff is up to and why he's up to it. I roughly understand the concept of the sheriff's murders, but I don't know why he's decided to take this path, what pushed him down this road, what he's doing, what he's going to accomplish, how long he's been doing this for,
Right.
because high school girls have existed since before he was born, and they'll be there after he's dead, behaving in such a manner. So, and then after that, I'm just like, gangsters doing gangster things, Jeff on a rampage, and the sheriff auditioning to be the next pope. I don't know what the sheriff was doing.
The sheriff we got, I think I can best describe like this. It would be like if every Batman movie we saw, Batman was never an orphan. He just one day started fighting crime. And so like we understand why Batman protects the streets of Gotham,
Right.
because he doesn't want anyone to experience what he's experienced. So he's trying to make it a safer place. But instead, if this rich guy just wanted to go out and beat up criminals, we know he's beating up criminals. We know he's doing good, but we don't know why he's doing good. And like that's what we have with the sheriff. The
Right,
sheriff is killing people to cleanse their souls,
but
but we don't know why.
ultimately he's still doing good in your scenario.
Yes,
right?
in his mind. In his mind, he is doing good.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if we take your Batman scenario, right, and we take out the murder of his parents and the fear of bats, even, let's take it all out of there and just make him a rich guy who just said, you know what, I feel like killing people, and here's my plan. I'm going to take people at the scene of the crime and kill them before they commit their crimes. You're still a psycho, you're still a vigilante, but you're improving society. You are making things better for the world because you're taking out bad people. He's just killing young girls. That's all he's doing, is killing young girls and dunking them in water. He's not saving them. He's not fixing them. He's not saving their souls. He's killing young people and dunking them in water. The parallel that you're trying to make, I understand what you're trying to say, but it doesn't interconnect, because Batman is still saving lives. Batman, even when Batman is just this psycho killer who's killing other killers, he's saving people from getting killed somewhere down the chain of things. This guy's not. He's just a fucking madman doing madman shit.
Right. And I didn't mean it from that perspective so much. I meant just we can understand the behavior of a character.
Yeah.
And
I get it. I get it. Like,
know,
if I don't
they're
give you a
completely
backstory for
different.
Batman, it changes it. I understand.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you take out all of the context, he's still saving lives.
He's still doing
protecting people. And sure, he's subverting justice, and these people aren't getting their day in court and blah, blah, blah. I got it. But they put themselves in the line of fire in the first place. He's not picking random people out of nowhere. This sheriff is just taking hot chicks and killing them and dunking them in water. Like, I'm just pissed because you're pretty. Bloop. And that's it.
Yeah. Yep. And we've talked about the sheriff, what he does, but we didn't talk about how the movie ended.
I feel like the movie
it will never end. The movie ends by showing us a different group of majorettes who are 10 years old, maybe, and they are practicing at their school outside. And this fucking creep is just standing there staring.
He's just waiting for them to make a mistake.
Yes,
he never kiss someone.
He's never caught. He gets away with his crimes.
Yep.
Roland doesn't figure this out. We never even see Roland after they figure they can't talk to Jeff. So he gets away with everything, and he is just standing there watching these girls, sheriff or not, janitor or not. When this type of behavior happens, there has to be an adult in the room that goes, I know he's the sheriff, but I don't like the way he's looking at those kids. Like, so if these girls are dying and you've got this fucking creep standing there, like with Superman laser vision, burning holes in the back of these kids' heads with the way he was looking, hey, do you think the sheriff can be involved in this?
It's a town of 50 people. At some point, I have to assume everyone's involved and then uninvolve them. I can't go the other way with this.
Yeah. No, and it's suggesting that the situation is going to continue to repeat itself. But how's it going to repeat itself if the killer is dead?
Right.
You've killed the killer, so the killings should stop. So I guess it's great. All the teenagers can go back to having sex without fearing that the sheriff's going to play army man and put a knife in their throat.
I guess what we missed here is that this movie is really just anti-religious, and the point at the end of the movie is religion
Oh,
will carry on forever, and that's it.
yeah, yeah. That. Honestly, that's pretty much it. For as much as religion is involved in this, I think it's a very anti-religion movie, and they're just letting us know it's not going anywhere.
This movie is fortunately over, and absolutely a catastrophe, and yet at the same time, we've watched movies from front to back that don't play out this catastrophically, but aren't as good as this. I don't know how they pulled this off, but they constructed this good movie inside of this shell of garbage. And,
Yeah,
and or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know how you like to do your packaging, but this movie was just uninspired, uninteresting, and boring. And I'm not even interested in how you survive because we're still not entire. We can
well,
make assumptions. We can make assumptions that the sheriff was killing people because they were pretty and they were not virgins anymore. Let's
yeah,
simplify it in that way. We don't know that. The sheriff never says that. We could also, by the way it plays out, we could just assume that they were all Jewish. And that would work the same exact way for the amount of context that we got out of this movie.
yeah.
So surviving this sheriff seems to be a matter of staying a Catholic virgin, otherwise you're screwed.
Right. You could be a completely different
An
religion.
ugly Catholic virgin. Get yourself a little
Yes.
scar or something like that, and then you're actually good to behave however you want.
Right. And the survive the killer doesn't work in this
Nope.
because Jeff is really the killer.
Yeah, well,
Jeff killed the most people.
Jeff's the most
Like,
prolific.
so
Yeah,
are we surviving Jeff? Are we surviving the sheriff? Are we surviving Helga? Are we surviving the gang members? Who are we surviving in this? Because there are too many killers in this movie for such a small town.
so the correct answer to who we're surviving is S. William Hinsman, and that is the
Yeah,
director of the movie. That's who we survived in
that's
this
who we
movie.
survive. Yeah, got to get a t-shirt. You know,
I survived. That's William Hinsman. All I got was this T-shirt. And then, if you're the killer, do you do anything differently? I don't know because I don't know
well,
why he was doing it. I
no.
If I'm Jeff, maybe I'm a little less brazen with my killing of the gang.
But he's getting away with it. The sheriff basically said, "I'll see to it that he's okay."
Right.
Um, and you don't do anything differently if you're the sheriff, because with the whole Helga being as stupid as she was, that played right into your hands.
Yep.
So as long as you're able to control yourself and not kill again, you've gotten away with all those murders.
Yeah.
No one's investigating this anymore.
Yeah. And
So yeah, if you're the gang, yeah, don't go out the front door. That's
right.
basically what it is. When there's an explosion out front, assume another gang or somebody you pissed off is there to kill you. Don't go out the front door.
Yeah.
That's how you survive Jeff. Go out the back.
And that's it.
But
that's it. So
yeah,
so if we get right down to it, did they make the movie they set out to make? Personally, I don't know. I don't know because I didn't read the book
yeah,
that it's based on. So if this lines up perfectly with the book, then yeah, they did. If this
yep.
doesn't, then no, they didn't. And I don't know either way. And I'm still not sure I want to know either way because it's going to
Right.
involve me reading a book.
Then she'll just be pissed off after you read.
Boy.
Yeah, and my initial instinct is to say no, but for the same exact reason. This is based off a book, and the writer of that book was on set and had a role.
Right.
So I have to assume this is exactly the movie they wanted to make. Otherwise, I would have said no. They tried to make 3 movies and gave us 1 instead.
Right.
They did not make if this had nothing to do with the book. This was an all original idea. I would say no, but since it's a book,
there's no way someone committed this to paper.
yeah.
Would you ever watch this movie again?
And for as much as we complain about this, I just feel it's so close to giving us something watchable. It it really was. It was very close, but every time they started to, they just didn't. Um, so I didn't hate this movie, but it wasn't like, oh, you know what? I know who would like it, and maybe I'll watch it with them, or I should recommend this to this. No, I don't know anyone that I would tell to watch this movie who I think would enjoy it, and I don't see myself ever watching it again.
A couple of years ago, um, after my grandfather passed away, I inherited a box full of like film reels and slides and things like that.
And
And
same here.
and most of it was like, like family
Yes,
memories, family
yes,
pictures, family films, and I'm converting them all to digital. And the biggest challenge I have in some of them is like finding someone old enough to look at this film and go, oh, that's from this person's wedding back in
yeah,
1941 or whatever, so label it that. And okay, fine. The ones that I don't exactly know what they are, most of them it's, oh, this is clearly a wedding, and I can tell based on who's there roughly when this happened, so I can give it a little bit of context. I have this one reel of film. I don't know what it is. The label doesn't make any sense. The pictures I've managed to pull from it, because it's not a normal film, don't make any sense. I have tried on several occasions to pull like clear pictures out of it to try to sort out what it is, and I can't. And to get it converted, I'm going to have to send it away. And that's first of all going to risk putting it in the mail and whatever happens there. And on top of that, it's like $300. Point of the story is this: I don't know what it is. I will probably never know what it is. But every 3 months or so, I break it out and I try to run it through my usual things again. And maybe this time I'll catch that thing that I
yeah,
missed last time that will give it some context. And either I will say, I'm not going to pay $300 to convert this, or, oh, I definitely want to see this converted. And then I will not figure it out again, and I will put it away for another 90 days. Same thing again. That's where this movie is to me. There's nothing about this movie I can figure out, but every now and then I can see where I'm going to feel like, maybe I missed a very specific context clue that would make a whole bunch of this make sense. And maybe they thought they just threw it in there and I was supposed to notice it, but not have to have it explicitly pointed out to me. So I will wind up watching this movie again like a psychopathic OCD maniac, because I am convinced that somewhere in here is the thing that I missed that makes the whole thing go, oh, okay. I still don't
yeah,
like this movie, but at least it makes sense to me now.
yeah. No, I get it.
I give you the budget. How do you fix the movie?
The we've touched on this. We don't have any insight to the killer's mind. We know we get the preacher voices regarding the baptism. We get the roars. We get the weird sci-fi sound effects, but we don't know why he's doing what he's doing. I mean, yes, like he's sending the girl's souls to heaven and cleaning them beforehand, but there has to be a reason he's doing that. So what I would do is we're going to mix in some flashbacks from his childhood. And we can do this by making his father a preacher. During the baptism, like that the young child's attending with his dad, because he's baptizing some other family. It becomes apparent that the preacher's wife, so the sheriff's mother, and one of the parishioners are into each other. So just some glances. Maybe they're standing next to him. We see like a pinky come out where, like they're touching hands, just something subtle that only they're seeing. When the crowd lets out, that guy kind of hangs back and doesn't leave. The sheriff, who's a child at the time, is helping his father gather the stuff, whatever they have to do afterwards. And he's taking some stuff to the car when he hears some noises in the woods, because there was like the lake there and woods around it. And the kid goes over to look in the woods, and there's his mom having sex with that guy. The kid screams or something, does something to call the attention of his father. The father just comes over and just beats him to a pulp, whether you want to make it some sort of religious artifact or whatever it is that he uses, whatever, it doesn't matter. The wife is screaming. He then drags her out to the lake, slits her throat, and baptizes her. So now this kid has witnessed his own father kill his mother, and for the reasons that he's doing it, and to send his mother's soul to heaven. And she got herself in that predicament by committing the sin of adultery. So being promiscuous is now a motivation to kill these teenagers. And now we have some insight into his world. And by doing this, it can eat up some time. We can have some more scenes in actual church. We can then eliminate these side stories that we're getting. So we can take the revenge from Jeff out. We can, Jeff can still be in the movie. I would get rid of Harry and Helga altogether. That we don't need to mix that into this story whatsoever. And then we could just make the Jeff Rambo movie on its own. Where he's just out kicking ass if you want to do that. But now we just have motivation for the killer, and we're just going to stick to killing the kids in high school or any collateral damage that we get.
I like it. I like that we gave the context. I like that we can give kind of the father tells the son, this happened to your mother because she was impure. And now this gives him, I got to make sure women are pure, drive and motivation. I like all of it. I had an idea coming into this. I don't like it at all now. I did kind of like your trilogy of terror sort of concept where it's like these we're going to make it 3 separate stories that are happening in one town. I think that works nicely. And then along the way sort of concocted this other rough skeleton sketch of what's happening. The sheriff is a talented but failed athlete who's working in this small town now, he came from the big city to this small town. And he's been working there for a long time, and he knows everything about everybody. He's got everybody's case file because there's only like 150 people in town. He knows everybody inside and out. And he's a good sheriff, and he's well respected and whatever. And for whatever reason, there's this window of time where this town's athletes are like the talk of the nation. Like they got the best wrestler in the nation. They got the best quarterback in the nation. There's just whatever it is, whatever's in the water there. This town is nailing it right now. It's got to be in Texas somewhere, I would assume. And it's just really eating at the sheriff to watch these kids have this success that he never had. And I don't know, we can build that somehow, but it's just, he's sitting in this thing. He's like, I don't like these kids having all this success sort of stuff. So his plan is to start taking out their girlfriends, whatever it might be, because he knows if he pulls the right chairs out, they'll start their own sort of revenge tours on each other, thinking that amongst themselves, they're the ones doing all this to each other. Like maybe now he's not killing them, but like he beats the shit out of one of the girls and leaves them at the stoop of a party. And it's like the other guy, the wrestler guy must have done it because he hates the basketball guy, whatever.
Right.
And he
was last seen with her.
Right. And he's just basically setting up the dominoes, and then the kids are the ones who go hot-headed and take off on this, and they start doing all the killing and the whatnot, and he just sits back and laughs at it and just lets it all play out because he's the sheriff, because he's then going to be in charge of the investigation, so he can play both ends of it. He can beat that girl up, and then he can go, and then we found this guy's sneaker at the scene of the crime, and it's like, hey, what was that doing there? And he's just fiddling this whole town because he's just pissed off that he never got the Heisman Trophy, essentially. And I don't think that's great. I think that can get kind of cheesy if it's not written right, but I can give you motivation. I can give you multiple killers doing multiple things for multiple reasons. And I can give you a small town where everybody knows everything about everybody. And that's the problem. Instead of that being an advantage, it's a disadvantage to know everything about everybody, because hey, no one else would have had that at that time. And now that's here. It must have been him. And that's how I can marionette this entire town into basically slaughtering each other while I sit back and laugh about it, as a 65-year-old sheriff who's getting too old for this shit. And that's my movie.
I like that too, because it would give him the opportunity to when he's setting, when he, you know, when he's pulling the strings, he knows when there's going to be an encounter, so he could purposely be busy
Right.
somewhere else, have the police diverted somewhere else, so they're not going to be able to respond in time.
Right.
If he, yeah, so yeah, no,
He
there's
he's
lots
got
of opportunity there.
he's got all the strings, and I don't know what his slip up is, but obviously there's one slip up that one of the cops catches onto, and it managed to unravel everything. But yeah, for the most part, since he runs the town and he's well regarded and he knows everything, he can kind of just walk everybody into where he wants them to be.
Yeah,
Until he screws up, until he gets maybe a little too big for his britches
yeah,
and does one too many things.
cool.
So that is our bloody take on this bloody awful movie. If you had the courage to watch this movie beginning to end, you can give us your commentary on it at all the socials. We're at Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Blue Sky, and Twitter. It's one bloody take, all one word. We're also on TikTok at _bloody_take. From now on, when we post there, we're going to make alien sounds underneath of all of our posts just to throw you off the scent. So look forward to that. We do the podcast. The podcast is available Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Substack, wherever you get your podcast. Just search out One Bloody Take. Put out a new episode every Wednesday. Join us next week when we discuss 1992's Dr. Giggles. I'm Paul.
And I'm Russ.
And thanks for listening to our Bloody Take.